The Ritz-Carlton ballroom sparkled with crystal and pretense. Wedding guests in designer wear floated between champagne towers while I stood at the kitchen entrance, staring at my place card. Table K1, I read aloud. K for kitchen. My new stepmother, Diane, glided over in her fourth wedding dress of the day. Oh good, you found your seat. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. We had to make some arrangements. Through the kitchen's swinging doors, I could see the catering staff setting up my solo table next to the industrial dishwasher. The main ballroom held 20 pristine tables, half of them empty. Of course, I said quietly, checking my phone. 3 missed calls from my executive board. It's where the help belongs, Diane's daughter Madison smirked, adjusting her maid of honor dress. We couldn't have a waitress at the family table. They conveniently forgot that I'd left waitressing 8 years ago. That my tech company now powered half the country's emergency response systems. That my tips, these days, came in billions. The family table looks lovely, I noted, watching my father laugh with Diane's country club friends. He hadn't spoken to me since I'd refused to sell my company to his business partner. It's for immediate family only, Diane said firmly. You understand. My phone buzzed again. The acquisition meeting couldn't wait. Better get to your seat. Madison gestured to the kitchen. The staff needs their table for breaks. I checked my watch. A vintage Patek Philippe worth more than Diane's wedding. Actually, I have a prior engagement. Picking up an extra shift? Madison laughed. The hotel manager rushed over, face flushed. Miss Chin, there's a situation outside. The distinct whump-whump of helicopter blades cut through the wedding march. That would be my ride, I said as guests rushed to the windows. The sleek black helicopter was settling onto the Ritz-Carlton's helipad, my company logo gleaming on its side. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, wedding guests pressed their faces against the glass, champagne forgotten. What is the meaning of this? Diane hissed, her perfect makeup cracking with fury. You're ruining my wedding photos. The hotel manager wrung his hands. Miss Chin, your pilot radioed ahead. He says the emergency board meeting can't be delayed, I finished, gathering my Hermes clutch. A 9-figure acquisition waits for no one. Madison's smirk faltered as she recognized the company logo. Her fiancé had been begging for a job there for months. You can't just leave. Diane grabbed my arm, her diamond bracelet catching the light. What will people think? They'll think, I gently removed her hand, that the CEO of Chintech Emergency Systems had better things to do than sit by a dishwasher. My father finally looked up from his best man's table, his face paling as he recognized the helicopter. The same model he'd called a wasteful expense when I'd tried to explain my company's growth. The pilot's voice crackled through the manager's radio. Miss Chin, the board is assembled. Tokyo Stock Exchange opens in 30 minutes. Tell them I'm on my way, I replied, heading for the helipad access. And Madison? She straightened, suddenly eager. Yes. About your fiancé's job application. I paused at the door. The kitchen is hiring. The cool evening air whipped my dress as I crossed the helipad. Behind me, the wedding reception had devolved into chaos, with guests abandoning their assigned seats to crowd the windows. Your father is requesting an immediate meeting, my assistant's voice came through my earpiece. He's mentioned something about his business partner's offer. The same offer I rejected last month? I smiled, ducking under the helicopter blades. The insulting one that valued my company at 1/10 of its worth? Through the windows, I could see Dad frantically working his phone while Diane's perfectly orchestrated reception crumbled around her. The string quartet had stopped playing, too busy watching my helicopter to maintain their balk. Miss Chin, the pilot called over the engine noise, Tokyo is waiting. The acquisition will triple our Asian market share. Madison burst through the helipad door, her maid of honor dress billowing. Wait. About Thomas's application. Your fiancé who called my company glorified dispatch software? I settled into the leather seat. The kitchen pays $15 an hour. My father appeared behind her, his face a storm of realization. The last time he'd seen me, he'd laughed at my revenue projections. Now my emergency response systems protected 40 million people. Sarah, he shouted over the rotors, Gerald's offer still stands. Gerald's offer, I adjusted my headset, wouldn't cover the cost of this helicopter. Speaking of which, the pilot's voice crackled through the wedding venue sound system. I'd forgotten he was still patched in. Chintech Systems currently valued at $8 billion. Tokyo merger expected to double market cap. The champagne glass slipped from Diane's manicured grip. The helicopter lifted smoothly into the darkening sky, leaving the Ritz-Carlton and its stunned wedding guests behind. Through the tinted windows, I watched Diane's perfect reception dissolve into a mess of urgent phone calls and furious whispers. "Your stepmother's stockbroker is trying to reach you," my assistant noted through the secure line. "He's suddenly very interested in Chintech's IPO options. The same broker who told me tech was a silly girl's hobby?" I checked the Tokyo market updates on my tablet. Add him to the general investor waitlist. Behind the kitchen staff. My phone lit up with messages, from family members who'd supported Diane's seating arrangement, from Madison's country club friends who'd snickered at my little app company, from relatives who'd nodded when Dad called my work a phase. "The merger details are ready for review," my pilot announced, passing back a quantum-encrypted tablet. "Tokyo opens in 20 minutes. As we soared over the city, I thought back to the day everything changed. The emergency that my system could have prevented if they'd only listened. "Pull up the Maxwell Hospital incident," I instructed my AI assistant. From 3 years ago. The holographic display flickered to life, showing newspaper headlines, "Hospital communication failure leads to tragedy." It was the day that proved my hobby could save lives. Dad's business partner, Gerald, had been the hospital's administrator. He dismissed my early warning system as unnecessary technology. 3 hours later, their outdated protocols failed during a mass casualty event. "Your father is still holding," my assistant reminded me. "He's mentioned Gerald's name 16 times. "Gerald," I said, reviewing the merger documents, "who lost his hospital administrator position after the Maxwell incident. Who could have prevented it by implementing our system. Who now wants to buy my hobby for pennies on the dollar." The helicopter banked toward our corporate headquarters, a gleaming tower of glass and innovation that dwarfed Dad's medical office building. The same tower he'd called overambitious when I'd shown him the plans. "Tokyo Stock Exchange opens in 15 minutes, my pilot announced. Board members are assembled in the quantum conference room. My phone buzzed with a text from Madison. "Thomas would make an excellent executive. His father knows Gerald." Speaking of Gerald, my assistant interjected, "He's apparently making announcements at the wedding reception. Something about being your company's future owner." I pulled up the venue's security feed. Gerald stood near my father, champagne in hand, bragging about his upcoming acquisition of Chintech Systems. "Push the merger announcement," I decided. "Tokyo can wait 5 minutes." The venue's screens, originally meant for wedding photos, flickered to life. My company's logo appeared, followed by breaking news. Chintech Systems announces historic Asian merger. Market value expected to reach $20 billion. Through the security feed, I watched Gerald's champagne glass join Diane's on the floor. "Your father is calling again," my assistant reported. "And Diane's broker has escalated to offering pre-IPO terms." The helicopter descended toward our landing pad, where board members in Tokyo were already waiting in the quantum conference room. Their technology, my technology, made distance irrelevant. "One last thing," I instructed my assistant. "Send a gift to the kitchen staff at the Ritz-Carlton. Full shares in the company, pre-merger valuation. And the family table? Send them the employee dining room menu. I hear the kitchen is hiring." My father's latest message flashed across my screen. "Sweetheart, let's discuss this as a family. Gerald can meet tonight." Below us, my tower's quantum systems pulsed with life-saving data. Emergency responses coordinated across continents. Hospitals connected through protocols that Gerald had once dismissed. Lives saved by technology that Dad had called a phase. "Miss Chin," my pilot called, "Tokyo is ready." I deleted Dad's message. "Tell them the future of emergency response is about to begin. And it won't be run from a kitchen table." The helicopter touched down on my tower's landing pad, where real success awaited. Not the kind measured in wedding seating arrangements or country club memberships, but in lives saved and systems transformed. The quantum conference room hummed with potential. Holographic displays showed board members from 3 continents, their faces hovering above ergonomic chairs that cost more than Diane's wedding dress. Tokyo's financial district glowed behind our Asian partners, while London's dawn painted our European investors in early light. "The Maxwell incident documentation is ready," my assistant murmured through my earpiece, "including Gerald's written rejection of our system." I took my place at the head of the table, both physical and projected. The room's quantum processors adjusted automatically, creating a seamless integration of present and remote participants. Technology that Gerald had once called science fiction nonsense. Before we begin the merger discussion, I addressed the assembled executives. "I'd like to share a historical note. Computer, display Maxwell Hospital records, circa 3 years ago." The room transformed into a detailed holographic recreation of that tragic day. Emergency vehicles scrambled in chaos, traditional communication systems failed, and preventable losses mounted. All because Gerald had thought emergency response technology shouldn't be developed by a waitress playing with computers. "Your father and Gerald are attempting to enter the building," my assistant reported. "They're showing the wedding invitation as credentials." "Interesting approach," I noted. "Show them to the employee entrance. Behind the kitchen." The board members watched as I pulled up the current statistics. Chintech Systems had reduced emergency response times by 64% globally. Our protocols were now standard in 2,000 hospitals across 60 countries. The technology Gerald rejected now saved approximately 300 lives per day. "Ms. Chen," our Tokyo representative spoke, his hologram leaning forward, "the Asian market projection is extraordinary. But there's a competing offer we should discuss." "Gerald's proposal," I smiled. "Through my father's medical investment group." The room's quantum displays shifted, showing two valuations side by side. Gerald's offer looked like pocket change compared to the Tokyo merger terms. "They're now in the employee cafeteria," my assistant updated. "Your father is demanding to speak with you about family loyalty." I enlarged the Maxwell Hospital data. "Speaking of loyalty, let's discuss how our system could have prevented 342 critical delays that day. If certain administrators had valued innovation over tradition." The board members murmured as the numbers rolled across their screens. Lives that could have been saved. Families that could have been spared grief. All because Gerald thought emergency response should stay in the capable hands of his country club associates. "Your stepmother is calling every investment firm in her contact list," my assistant added. "She's offering inside access to your company." "Quantum security," I commanded. "Lock down all investment protocols. And send Diane a copy of our insider trading regulations." The illustrated version. The Tokyo merger numbers pulsed across our screens, drawing appreciative nods from board members. Our Asian partners had recognized what Gerald hadn't: that emergency response needed quantum evolution, not traditional limitations. "Gerald is now telling cafeteria staff about his imminent acquisition of the company," my assistant reported, amusement clear in her voice. "Display current stock value on all building screens," I instructed, "including the cafeteria." The quantum systems responded instantly. Throughout the tower, displays showed Chinteka's soaring market position, and the comparatively tiny sum of Gerald's rejected offer. "Ms. Chen," our London representative interjected, "the Emergency Services Coalition is calling. They're ready to implement your quantum response protocols across the European Union." "The same protocols," I noted, "that Gerald called unnecessary complications to the traditional system." My father's voice came through the employee cafeteria speakers. "Sarah, princess, let's be reasonable. Gerald has been in emergency response for 30 years. And in those 30 years, I addressed the board, emergency response times improved by less than 1%. In the 3 years since we launched Chintech Systems, we've revolutionized global emergency services." The quantum displays showed our growth curve, a stunning vertical line that made Gerald's traditional methods look like flatlining patients. "Your father is now showing wedding photos to the cafeteria staff," my assistant reported, "attempting to prove his connection to you." "Show them the kitchen table seating arrangement," I suggested. "It proves quite a different connection." The quantum displays shifted again, showing live feeds from emergency centers worldwide. Every pulsing dot represented a life potentially saved by our system. The technology Gerald had mocked now coordinated global emergency responses with quantum precision. Madison is texting about Thomas again, my assistant noted. She's offering to change his resume's comments about your glorified dispatch software. Send her our kitchen staff benefits package, I replied. Including stock options, which are worth more than her wedding budget. The board members chuckled as the Tokyo merger terms appeared in their final form. Numbers that would make Gerald's offer look like a tip at his country club. Your father and Gerald are now demanding to see the company ownership documents, my assistant reported. Display them, I nodded. All floors. Throughout the building, screens lit up with a simple pie chart. My 100% ownership of Chintech Systems. No investors, no partners, no compromises. Just pure innovation that had grown from a hobby to a global empire. Shall I patch them into this meeting? My assistant asked. No need, I smiled. The kitchen is about to serve lunch.